Every time, for goodness sake. Good start there, isn't it? At the moment we were going to go live, and I suddenly thought I've still got the banner up. So anyway, that's because I was slightly distracted by something John Huston put up, which was greetings everyone. Only 6 more sleeps to Telford. Absolutely.
There you go.
Looking forward to that. I'm still very disappointed that we're not going up together, Drew. But as we were saying before the show, we will plan for next year, and it will be a triumphant return.
Indeed.
Anyway, how are you doing? I know you've been a bit under the weather, haven't you?
Yeah, the COVID monster came to play. So, and you can hear me now. I'm still not right. But yeah, it was a week of not very much fun, shall we say? It's one of those things where you stay off work because you're not feeling right, and people think, "Oh, great, you're off work. It must be great." But when you're off work with crippling fatigue and you just can't keep your eyes open and they're gritty and everything's painful, and it's just, I didn't really. It's remarkable I achieved anything at all this week. Put it that way. And as you can hear, I'm still not right now.
If you were a car, I'd be worried that the timing was slightly out.
Yeah, it's still a bit congested and stuff. But I mean, I'm a lot better than I was. Put it that way. But I was not in a good way during the week. But it kind of is very, very much up and it's very much up and down. It's like Thursday, I felt pretty good all day, and then I woke up Friday morning and it just felt absolutely terrible again. So, and today I felt pretty good all day, and like just in the last couple of hours, I started feeling a bit
right. I tell you something, and I don't know whether you've ever noticed this, but when you've got like a cold or a virus or whatever, and then you get to the evening, is that usually it all suddenly starts clagging back in again. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very much so. It's really starting to, but we'll be all right. Well, we power through.
If only you had some kind of hobby to see you through all this, Drew.
Well, yeah, like I say, it was. I mean, I did manage to get some stuff done, but it was, trying to get an hour here and there in between bouts of sort of fatigue and falling asleep on the sofa, because I couldn't fall asleep in bed because everything just went and clogged up. So it was. I don't recommend it. It's not fun.
No, well, I'm desperately trying to avoid anything for the next week, because obviously, fingers crossed, I'll be off to Telford on Friday. And I'd rather not have a test blip up between now and Friday. So I shall be. I've got friends of mine are saying, "Oh, let's go out for a walk this week." I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
No, gotta say no to that.
Yeah, I've got to say no to that. All right, I'm just going to say, but I am going to say hello to everybody who's tuned in at the moment. So I'm just going to have a sweep through all the correspondence here. So hello, viewer Damien Mullen, who's always the first to say hello. Tony Surridge, Dave Fleming, look forward to seeing you at the weekend, Dave. Nick Brown, Rob Monfils, look forward to seeing you as well, Rob. Sean Smith, Stephen Pryor, Lee Souter, Michael Hooverling, Ian Goldstraw, Greg Woodbridge, John Huston. Indeed, John was the one who said only 6 more sleeps to Telford. Rory, your brother. Hello, Rory, your brother. Paul Milligan, Andy King, Jerry Doyle, Carlos Ruiz, Kev Tinker, Mike Clages, Mike Williams. Good, Mike. Look forward to seeing you at the weekend. Hobby Time, Jim Altegott. Jim says, greetings and salutations from Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City. Nothing to do with those vegetarian sausages I had either. Vincent Murphy, Crazy Loca, Dave Coward, Theron Hampton, Alan Richardson, Brian Wilton, Draws Breath, Anfield Road layout in the loft. Good result against Luton today, I thought. A bit disappointing, but there we go. Dougal McWiggle, Shane Weir, Ophir Cohen, Steve Moores, David Griffith, Stan Codlin. Scrolls down, we can get t-shirts made with that on there. Kevin M, Jared Watkinson, I call him neighbour Jared because he doesn't live near to me, but he lives just over the next couple of hills. Yeah, he's a Somerset lad like us. And Stuart Templeton, Robert Jackson. There we go. Robert says, well, that's very kind of you, Robert. He says, may you have a good time at your show, JM. That's very kind of you, Robert. Thank you. As like I say, is Spence and I will be doing modelling demos on the hobby company stand for the weekend. So I know Spence is building the new Tamiya F35B, isn't it? Is it the B? The one with it taking off on the carrier deck. Yeah. And I don't know. That's the one. And I will be filling in whatever else needs making. So
well, I was told you were both building it.
Okay, might be a bit crowded. We'll work it out. We'll work it out when we're there. Go on. What's caught your attention, Tiger?
No, I'm just looking at the messages down the side. I keep an eye on because I have to look that way because that's where the screen is, but that's where the camera is. So
yeah,
when it looks like when it looks like I'm not paying attention to you, I am in fact paying attention to.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Stuart Templeton makes a very good point. He says, evening all, nothing wrong with veggie sausages. Stuart, nothing wrong with veggie sausages at all. And in fact, he has had veggie sausages around my place and you've actually enjoyed them, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with veggie sausages at all.
Yeah.
It's one of those odd things that people think if you're not a vegetarian, you're anti-vegetableist. And no, if you know, it's like whenever I come up to stay at yours, you always get ham and stuff in, and I'm always saying, don't bother, it doesn't matter. We'll eat vegetables for the weekend. It's fine.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
It doesn't matter.
Very kind of you. It's been 3 years since you've been up here, isn't it? It's
over.
No, it would have over 3 years. Yeah,
near a fall.
Yep,
it's near a fall. Probably Christmas 2019. Because
would have been
early in the new year. It was lockdown, and so. Yes, well, there we go. And,
I know. Right, shall we talk about models?
Clear bed space for me. No.
Sorry,
you refuse to clear a space for me to sleep now. So
no, it's not. I'm not refused, but no, you can sleep in the library now. So that's good news. Anyway, shall we talk about models that we've been working on this week? I know you've been working on one. Should we try and steer the conversation into modelling?
How's it been going for you?
What's that?
Well, you've had some decal woes, haven't you?
Oh, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, we'll do it now. We'll go now.
Come on, get in now.
Live to my work. Right, I am building the new Mercedes Audi Sport Quattro, and there are quite a lot of decals that go on the bodywork. Now, ordinarily, this would not be a problem were it not for the fact that these things are thicker than insert joke here. It's by and large they kind of drape over the shapes, but they'll drape over the shapes once you start assailing them with Mr. Mark's softer. There's a microsole, unfortunately, wasn't up to the task, but we've had a little bit of an issue on these vents here because the decal just would not bed down inside it. And where I have pierced it and flooded it with more Mr. Mark softer, it's started to break up a bit there. So I'm going to have to very carefully mix up some matching grey paint to deal with that. Also, a little bit of red there where we've had that decal crack. By and large, I mean, the ones at the back actually worked pretty well. In fact, the ones...
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at all there, does it?
No, the ones that go into the number plate, because that's actually a decal that actually goes into the number plate, would you believe? That's worked fine. So, yeah, it's just the front here. So, and we also got to try and get the decal to bed over these, excuse me, these latches here, and oh goodness me. Anyway, but we are going to be interesting modelling company cliche 101. We are going to be hiding things with mud, so because it's a rally car. So,
what do they say? What do the filmmakers say? We'll hide it in post.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. Likewise, on the underside, it's got this weird kind of like zinc chromate / interior green colouring for the pads there. What do we call these, Drew? Protective pads, don't we?
Yeah, basically, yeah, they're just plates, aren't they? Protective plates.
Sure. But I'm rather pleased with the effect I got on the exhaust, which was a mixture of kind of burnt irons, golds, and silvers. But again, this underside is going to be absolutely caked in mud and dust effects and whatever. So I'm really not going to worry too much about perfecting it. And also, who the heck's going to see on the underside of the model anyway?
Yeah, that's right. Unless somebody picks it up with a phone camera in their hand, obviously.
No, that ain't going to happen. And then we've got the windows with the surrounds that are decals as well. They worked absolutely perfectly, and we also have the seats as well with the seatbelt decals on them. So, by and large, I have really enjoyed it. It's modeling that takes me out of myself as a modeler, and I've genuinely really enjoyed this project. So
a few more hours this week, just bringing it all together, ready for the start.
Few repairs here and there, and I've got all the detail bits to put on, and the mud, obviously. But see, Rory makes a good point. He says, I've just used Modeller's World pigments with AK gravel and sandfix to represent mud on my Airfix, his Airfix truck. A very pleasing effect. I would go and find the images, but I've got my brain in tonight, so sorry about that. Gordon J says, looking forward to seeing it next weekend, JM. Thank you, Gordon. That's very kind of you. Just don't look at it too closely. And Jim knows the score. Cover it with mud. Yep, that's
cover it with mud. Cover it with mud.
Yeah, here we go. We've actually got some people here who know all about these things. Skid plates. Yeah, thank you, chaps. And viewer David says, JM, very nice finish indeed. Did you gloss over your decals before decaling? No, just stuck with the it was to get the white Tamiya X2, which is a gloss anyway. And you can really kind of power that stuff on. It holds, and you can really kind of put nice big heavy wet coats down. So anyway, there we go, folks. So that's part one of what I've been working on this week. So Drew, what have you been working on?
Getting well. No.
Right. Okay.
And I've this is now done for the stand at Telford, for the hobby company stand. This is the new F35B from Tamiya, which, as you can see, I've done wheels up on a stand by agreement. I wanted a simple. I wanted a simple build. I built the Italeri one last year, and it was all hanging out, if you remember, for the stand.
Yep.
And Andy asked me if I'd build this, and we discussed how I was going to build it, and I suggested I did it all packed away.
Yep.
In flight, because I think it'll just make a nice sort of impact on the stand.
Well, not only
flight
that,
mode.
but you're also able to make use of the fact that Tamiya, rather unusually, give you a display stand.
Yes, they do. There is a, bear with me. So yeah, there's this. They give you this display stand for it because one of the options in the kit is to have it in hovering mode with the undercarriage out and stuff. There's no option to have it with the undercarriage retracted per se, but I did sort of pack the undercarriage away on this again by agreement with Mr. Farmer to show it actually in flight, and it's got a piece here inside the fuselage where a little nut goes, and there's a bolt that goes through the stand to bolt it into place. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, I couldn't get the nut and bolt to engage with each other after assembly. So a bod's job. That's actually a bit of bamboo, which is self-tapped into the nut in there, and because it's bamboo's quite grippy in its own right. That'll just locate on the stand like so, and it stands fine.
Perfect.
So you know, it does, and it will spin a little bit if people want to look around it. So yeah, it's. I think that the other thing is that it just proves how easy Tamiya kits are to do stuff with the doors closed, because all these doors have been dropped in place as per the option. A quick dab of Tamiya extra thin quick setting, and that is literally it for all these closed doors, and all the bomb bays and stuff are all just dropped in place and a dab of glue add, and you can't tell.
No,
you can't tell. It looks, all intents and purposes, it looks like the top and the bottom are just two parts without any without any bits, shall we say. All the doors at the front here for the lift fan and all that sort of stuff. Even the main the nose wheel doors required a little bit of work. They didn't fit perfectly, but it wasn't really terribly difficult to get them blended away. Yeah.
What's that grey panel on the underside, Drew?
Which grey panel are we on about, John?
At the back.
I don't know. It's there's an APU exhaust here, and all of the options in the kit seem to show this as having a sort of a differently grey panel. I used 35237 for it, and it just shows that. So I thought it looked nicely interesting to depict it.
Yeah,
and some obviously some weathering around the jet exhaust there and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's had a dry brush with some light grey just to highlight the edges on all the RAM panels and stuff, and then some light weathering with Starship filth and stuff. But it's as we discussed earlier, it's an incredibly difficult aeroplane to make look that interesting.
Well, Carlos Ruiz makes a very good point. He says, "Have you noticed that the stealth finish tends to weather to a brownish shade?"
Well, we've noticed this especially on the F-35Cs that were deployed at sea. And I've seen it in dribs and drabs around some others, but not really to anything like the extent of the first sea deployment for the F-35C. So yeah, it has been noted, but it certainly, I haven't seen it on RAF ones anyway. So and it's the thing is, these colours are quite warm in tone. They are warm tones as opposed to the ghost greys, which are very cool tones. So in fact, both of these main colours are using the Tamiya mixes, and both of them are greys mixed with red brown. So yes,
that's answered my next question: is what paints did you use?
Exactly the mixes that come in the kit. Exactly the mixes that come in the kit, which is LP 14 and 15 with red brown and various ratios, which pretty much exactly match the decals anyway. So yeah, it is a difficult looking aircraft to make look all that interesting, because of the way it's painted. But I quite like I just think it looks good in flight. I just think that looks good. It'll look good on the stand.
It will. It will. Yeah. Artie makes a very good point. He says, "Hi JM, will you be doing a pop-up live from Telford next week?" Artie, I'm going to try. All depends what the Wi-Fi situation at the International Centre is like, but we'll try. We'll give it a go. See what we can do. Can't make any promises, but we'll certainly be doing updates and things and whatnot from the iPhone. So here we go. Drewe has made a great model. I have never seen an F-35B in flight mode.
And this is the thing. Somebody actually said to me this week, "Why have you wasted the model doing that when he should have done it with everything hanging out?" And it's like, because that's what everybody does. Part of it was, apart from the fact that obviously it was by agreement with Mr. Farmer, because it needed to be built quickly. And building it with everything out and the bays open and stuff is going to add a couple of weeks at least to painting and detailing. And the other thing was, I just trusted that Tamiya would be good enough to put to close everything up without any issues.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I did. It sounds like I'm bagging on the Italeri kit that I built the other year. I'm not. It's a really, really nice model. However, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's sadly for Italeri, Tamiya have come along and done their own now. So that's just. And I did try posing some of the doors closed on the Italeri one, and it wouldn't have been a fun experience.
No.
Whereas this one, it just wasn't. It didn't require a second thought. Just do it.
No. Viewer Spencer says, "Do I have to get involved in a pop-up?" It all depends, Spence. It all depends. It all depends what kind of mood we're in. And Dave Fleming says, "My Italeri F-35B in 1/72 scale will be all shut up, albeit on deck mode. The intake lid, etc., fit quite well."
And I think that's the thing, Dave, is that I get what you're saying quite well, but when something is that visible, it needs to fit pretty much flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because that required no sanding or anything. It's just all the details being preserved. So.
Gordon J says, which models will the IMC will be displaying on the Hobby Co stand next weekend? Will Spence be adding some of his creations? Well, I must point out, Gordon, that Spence and I are there in our private capacities, not as representatives of the Int Mod Co. But we will be. There will be some new, obviously some F-35s. Spence will certainly be building one. I don't know what I'm building at the weekend, but I'm keeping an open mind. I'll probably be building another F-35, but I think it's going to be a case of wait and see. Do you want to know what you're getting for Christmas? No, exactly. So there we go. It's like,
yeah, just wait and see.
Wait and see. I can't answer it because I genuinely don't know. Viewer Mike says, hi all from Ice Hockey Arena here in Phoenix. Still wearing shorts. Well, so's Drewe probably. You've been known to wear shorts in the middle of November, haven't you?
Well, I mean, the thing is, one of the things that did come out of lockdown was me, I've always worn jeans, haven't I? Every 24 jeans exclusively, and I loathe jeans now, and I wear shorts all year. It takes a lot. I probably wear jeans 2 or 3 times a year now. So,
John Connolly says, hi guys, enjoy Telford next weekend. I was going to go, but it was cheaper for me to book a week in Lanzarote from Ireland, flying out Friday. I can well believe that, actually. I can well believe that. Mr. Pollard says, I'll be taking my Italeri Macchi 202 in 1/32 scale, as well as my 32nd. I think he means tornado, doesn't he?
Just say, what's a torbady?
Torbady. Yeah. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm sure he'll be taking his tornado along as well. So anyway, right, what else have I been working on? Well, let's jump across to the workshop workshop, and it is, well, it's this kit. It's a joint effort by Sabre and 1602, and it's a little German Hanomag RL20. Now, this was given to me by the good people of the Froome Model Centre, and I'm going to take it to Telford, and they can have it for their display. I'll just hand it over to them. Obviously, I can't get to Froome at the moment because of yeah. So the show will be a good opportunity to let them have it. Well, what have we got left? Not much, because we have got it constructed pretty much now. The one thing I've left off is, you okay there, Drew?
It's tiny, isn't it?
It's very, very small. It does in this mode. It does look like some kind of little comedy car, doesn't it? Like the Beverly Hillbillies or something. But no, it's just that I've left the radiator and the top of the bonnet off just for painting purposes. But oh my goodness me, you know how much you love photo etch, don't you?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have loved this. It was honest to goodness.
Can only see 2 bits.
Sorry?
Can only see 2 bits. Oh, there's some more. Yeah.
Little tiny brackets on the back. There's also some bits on the underside. There is a bracket that goes there, which I managed to lose. So I made a new bracket out of a piece of spare. It looks really grim on the underside, but do you know what's going to happen to the underside, Drew? We're going to cover it with mud,
isn't it? And nobody's ever going to look at it.
Yeah, we are going to cover it with mud, mate. And I'm just trying to think where the other bits of photo etch were. Excuse me. Yeah, you had these foot plates that needed bending into place. I'm just trying to think what the other bits were. Sorry, I've got a tickly throat. Oh, hang about. Might need to have a quick swig of drink in a second. Sorry, I'm just grabbing bits and pieces here. Bear with, as we say. Yeah, there were some other bits of photo etch, but I can't remember where they went. But no, it's I don't know what scheme I'm going to do this one in. Probably I don't know. I might do it in grey with winter whitewash.
Right.
I may also follow the suggestion on the box, which is to have one of the side panels uncovered so you can see the engine. So
it's a very good looking piece of box art, isn't it? It's
very nice. So yeah, it's been fun. You just have to kind of you got to be awake making this model. Let's put it that way. I did like the way the radiator grills just dropped into place, and it's a 2-part piece as well. So you've got a top piece, and you've got the grill section, then you've got like the grid that goes over the top, the fairing over the top. So that was good fun. The one, oh no, it's those. I've just suddenly noticed I've got brackets on here, and one of the brackets has gone south, so I need to search the box for that bracket. They were a pain in the derriere, they were. But the one thing I had to do, the one change from the kit I had to do, were the two little brackets that go down there. I think they're currently orbiting the planet, so I had to cheat and just make something from plasticard. Again, you're not going to see them because they will be weathered and covered and etc. etc. And the other change I had to make was I really didn't fancy trying to get that little plastic kind of hook loop, whatever you want to call it, off that. I just thought, no, I'm not doing that. So I just made one.
I was going to say that's got little piece of copper wire.
It's a little
Written
piece
all
of
over
brass wire, my lovely brass wire that I bought from Amazon about a year or so back. So yeah, so we did deviate from the kit a little bit there. But apart from that, I've just got, let's pop that back in the box. It just needs a kind of clean over with some isopropyl alcohol, and then we can blast it with primer. And then we can choose the final color scheme, which, as I say, might go for the grey one in the winter whitewash. I'll see what the comments are, folks. Choose my scheme for me. We've also got, incidentally, the photo etch. We've also got these brackets that go from the mudguard into the chassis as well. And that, honestly, Drew, it's like real chicken and egg, that, because in order to get those brackets into place, you have to set the mudguards in place as well. But in order to get the mudguards in place, you have to have the bracket in place.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, for goodness sake, shall we say, it made me really appreciate the relative ease of building a Tamiya kit. It's nothing against 1602 or indeed Sabre, but I think if I was to be perfectly honest, and my assessment of this kit would be, so I'm just fishing something out of the box here. I've just found that I've just found my missing bracket. There we go. That's good. My overall assessment is, whoops daisy, this is an excellent kit. It is really incredibly detailed. That engine is a piece of engineering genius, but it is also incredibly fussy at times. And I will give you an example of that. Is building this leaf spring with all the bits and pieces that go on it. Yeah, exactly. Again, part of the problem here is that you've got bits that require other bits to be in place before you add them.
No modelers were harmed in the design of this model, or indeed involved.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, but the thing is that in order to get this bit in place, I ended up having to kind of like put the photo etch bits in, then kind of like get that bit in there. You've also got this arm on top that also has to be added. Honest to goodness, it was just
yeah, the sort of thing you need a pair of extra hands for.
Yep, exactly. Oops, Daisy, exactly. Anyway, we have been joined by a guest.
Good Lord, no.
He's back again.
Spence, right.
For somebody who says, "Oh, I want to kind of like lessen the amount of live shows I do," he's always on this show, isn't he?
But I can't bear to be away from you. That's what it is.
But you're not made of wood, are you?
Mate, no. You've got a whole weekend of me next weekend.
Oh, I can't wait to be sat next to you, eating your biscuits and drinking your tea.
Oh, yeah, that's a point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Are you bringing biscuits, bearing in mind that you owe me at least 1,500 pounds?
I mean, we tend to leave the biscuits to you these days, Spence. You bring
oh, yeah. No, not happening. You two are scoundrels.
Yes.
Yep.
So anyway, I
flattery will get you everywhere.
So I saw the questions about next weekend, and I thought, you know what? Bearing in mind, I've just been out and watched Liverpool struggle against Luton Town. I thought I'd come and, answer some questions about next weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The biscuit. It's not a controversy. These two steal biscuits like they're their last meal.
Drew,
I believe the words we need to focus on here. There's only two words that we need to focus on. Help yourself.
Yeah. Help yourself, right? So we helped.
Have you met us before, Spence?
Yeah.
Yes. You did. You ate. Help yourself.
Yeah.
No,
we did.
No.
You said help yourself, so we did.
So next weekend apparently is the national championships, scale model world, and all that kind of nonsense. So we're sort of going to be sat next to each other for quite a large proportion of that.
We might not actually, Spence, because I'm just thinking that depending on how much space we've got, it might be that I'll let you get on with things while I go walkabout, and then we'll do like a handover where I can get on with something and you can go walkabout. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think from talking so that people know what we're going to be doing next weekend, I think that the idea is that next weekend is going to be F-35B shaped, I think, in part. I think that's what we're going to do. And also possibly, if it comes to it, KT ambulance shaped.
Yes.
I think that's possibly what we're going to do. So it'd be great that Drewe's F-35 is going to be on display, because people can kind of see what it looks like on what, now that it's complete and everything. And I agree, it does look great in flight. I also agree as well, and this is one of the things about the F-35. It is very difficult to make it look kind of interesting, isn't it? It's a, you know, people kind of talk about grey jets, but it is a kind of grey jet, and
it is the greyest jet ever. It really very much, and that carries across to the fact that there has been absolutely no variation in colour throughout its production. I mean, we're talking about 1,000 airframes now, and there has been no variation in its colour at all. I mean, even the aggressor ones that we've seen with the white and grey aggressor splinter on them, that's still just painted over the base paint. You know, you'd still have to go through the entire procedure of painting it as it is before adding the aggressor scheme. So it's a shame, but unfortunately, that's stealth.
Well, it kind of is. But I think it'll be good. Certainly, you know, I'm looking forward to next weekend, because it'll mean that we can kind of chat to people and they can come over and they can see the models and all of that kind of thing. I think it'll be kind of nice to do that. And although we have done shows where you and I have done, you know, we've sort of sat in front of people and done demonstrations and everything. I think this is the first weekend where you and I have sort of planned to be there almost all weekend together, which I think will be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think,
It's like I say, it's depending on how much space we've got, it might be, you know, if it gets a little bit too crowded, then it might be that, you know, I'll go walkabout and you can have the stage, and then I'll grab the stage and you go walkabout. But like I say, it all depends how much space we've got.
Yeah, and it might be good as well, because I'm going to take a bunch of legacy collection stuff next weekend, and Andy has been talking about it. So if you can take some of the stuff that we did for our little kind of competitions that we had, the Pink Panther T-34.
I'm trying to think where they are. I think the
Panther as well. I think that maybe we can kind of do that as well. And I'm just looking forward to it. Because last year I went to it on the Friday and set up, and then on the Saturday I wasn't there. I was only there for the morning, and then went to the football. So I think it's going to be good this year, just to be, you know, be able to chat to people and just, you know, talk nonsense. Like not that we talk nonsense, obviously, none of us do. You know, we're obviously far too professional for all that nonsense.
Not at all.
We talk incisive modelling chat. That's us.
We are. And to answer somebody's question earlier on, if I can find somewhere to display it, I will take the Sea-King.
Okay, yeah, because obviously plopping an Airfix Sea-King on a Tamiya stand might be seen as poor form, really. Airfix would probably be delighted, but
yeah, that's not. I'm not sure that's a very good idea, really.
Yes,
although it's sort of behind me, I think.
Yes, exactly.
There it is. If you look at it that way.
Oh, you'll like this, Spence. Jim says, recently attended a model show in Schaumburg, Illinois. Some of Shep Payne's box dioramas were on display.
I can't be friends with Jim altogether anymore. We can't be friends. If you've seen his dioramas in the flesh and I've not, then we can't be friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Somebody actually posted up a photograph that I think they'd been to a museum and they'd seen Shep Payne's diorama that was based around his Sherman Calliope.
Yes,
you know, that's a really famous diorama, isn't it? And they'd photographed it, and it was like, here we go. This is. I was like, God, I really would love to see that in the flesh. It's such a good diorama, you know, and actually I dug out that coffee table book of Shep's dioramas just to sort of have a look at what he'd done with the B24 and the B17 and thinking, oh, maybe I should sort of think about
in all honesty, Shep was doing it before Francois, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And Francois said that he was inspired by Shep Payne. That's how it worked. He was very much inspired by that. And also, you know, everybody thinks that Shep only did one B24 diorama. He didn't. He did two. He did Lady Be Good in the desert, all broken up. But he also did the assembly ship one as well. With the crew painting all the polka dots on it. So he did two of those dioramas. So yeah, it's just, you know, you look at those, they're still fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. And they're a work of art. Doesn't matter what anybody says. You can look at dioramas in 2023 and see how complex they are and all the detail and, you know, and all of that kind of thing, you know, and they've got these incredible kits. But Shep Payne's dioramas from the mid-70s and how he managed to sort of weave a story around those simple kits, just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. There you go. That's the J Liberator.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains, actually, when he's talking about that diorama, he explains that they never would have done that. They never would have painted only the front end of that, and you know, when it was out on the pan, they would have done it, you know, in one block. But he felt that it was more interesting to have the front end painted and see the rest of the aircraft.
A story's a story. It's allowed to be fictional.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is, and it's just such a beautiful model. I've got up there beyond me is a monogram B24J that I managed to get off a friend of mine for. He'll probably won't forgive me for telling everybody this, for £20. Yes. So I bought it off him for 20. I said, how much do you want for this? He went, oh, it was almost apologetically saying, well, I'll have it for £20. And I was like, really? And I went, oh, well, in that case,
thank you very much.
You. So it's sort of sat up there, and that is something that I'm going to be building soon, I think. But I don't really want to kind of get involved in like the Shep Payne thing, because I'm sort of a bit absorbed and a bit obsessed at the moment about the Palesti raids, and also when it comes to doing a B17, which I'm going to do, I'm really can't quite get past the Schweinfurt raids either, and I think what I'm going to try and do is maybe do a B24 from one of the Palesti raids, because basically it was crazy, wasn't it? You know, they went in at like 50 feet or something ridiculous.
It was insanity,
insane. You know, and also the going after the ball bearing factories at you know, Schweinfurt.
Yeah, I mean, I over the last year I've been listening to, because I've been quite a lot into audiobooks. and it's given me a chance to listen to quite a lot of the Masters of the Air, and there's one on the Pulaski raids and all that sort of stuff. And the entire US Army Air Force bombing campaign was just insane.
Yeah,
I mean, which is not to belittle the RAF's night bomber offensive. That was its own thing, but the day bomber raids, it's so incredibly sobering when people think, if people tend to think of like World War II as the infantry were the people who had the really rough time of it.
Yeah.
But your chances of surviving as an infantryman were massively higher than they were of surviving being part of the US Army Air Force's daylight bomber campaign.
I mean, I think that first Pulaski raid, that was something like, I don't know, 25 aircraft went out and something like 3 returned or something. It was the attrition was that much.
Yes.
But I think that we're, if anybody's watched Memphis Belle, I think the Memphis Belle raid is against Schweinfurt, isn't it? And they're all in there and they go, well, you're going to go again. You're bombing Schweinfurt this time. And they're all going, really? Why are we doing this sort of thing?
It was just, but I would recommend if you searching some of those books out, because it's so sobering to realize what those guys went through.
I think it is.
And how, which is not to say the guys in the infantry on the ground and stuff had an easy time of it, but their chances of surviving were massively higher than they were as airmen.
I think so.
And I think that kind of sometimes gets lost in people, in all the assumptions that, if you're in the, if you're a pilot or aircrew, you had a relatively speaking easier time of it, and you absolutely didn't. The only difference was at the end of every operation, you were back at home away from the front line.
Yeah, I mean, my sort of because obviously I'm just building, although I've just built the Airfix Sea King, which is now finished. It is finished now, which I have to say is an extraordinary kit. It really. I've sent you. You two have seen photographs of it finished, so that you know how it looks. It is extraordinary. But I was sent. Mike Reeves, who might be watching this now, sent me a B-25 Mitchell. He's sent me the H with the sort of whatever that gun is, the
75 millimeter.
The 155 millimeter gun sticking out of the nose. And so it sort of got my head around the idea of these bomber crews and everything. But it's not just about the aircraft; it's about I think what's inspired me, Elias, is also about the age of the air crew, and the age of the pilots. When you talk about the Dam Busters raids, those guys were like 23, 24, 25, They were kids. I've just been out watching football with a bunch of guys, my friends in town, and one of the guys that walked in, who's the nephew of the owner of the pub, he's walked in. He's like 23, and I'm thinking, he's like a couple of years younger.
And I think aircrew and pilots being in their mid-late 20s is a fairly recent phenomenon. In terms of certainly, generally because of the length of training and stuff. But it was, up until maybe 30, 40 years ago, very, very young pilots and people. What was absolutely the norm. And the thing that's most brought home to me is there was a Mirage pilot, an Israeli Mirage pilot called Asher Sneer. And he became an ace in the 1967 Six-Day War. And he became an ace in the Mirage 3 at 18 years of age.
Right.
It's just, can you imagine flying a Mirage Mach 2 plus fighter and becoming an ace in that aircraft at 18 years of age? It's
Guy
just
Gibson, incidentally, was when he led the Dams raid, he was 24.
Oh, I thought it was 23. Yeah, 20. Yeah,
24. And that's the thing. And I think that, you know, when we talk about building models and everything, we're the three of us are obviously really interested in the hardware. We like the hardware. That's the kind of thing. But certainly over the last couple of weeks, I've started to get in sort of get my head around the idea of what this hardware was used for, and certainly for those two aircraft, for the B-24, because the B-24 was essentially used for Palesti. I don't think they used B-17s for that raid. I think it was pretty much B-24s that flew out of Italy, wasn't it? Or no, flew out of. They didn't fly out of. They flew out of North Africa, didn't they?
Yeah, Libya.
And the same for, you know, when it came to Schweinfurt, they flew out of the UK, and that was sort of, I think it was a mixed force, wasn't it? But it was mainly B-17s that went out for Schweinfurt.
Yeah, I mean, Lots 9 there says Robin Olds. How old was he? Well, Robin Olds was a teenager when he joined the war in 1944, flying Lightnings and then flying Mustangs. We tend to think of Robin Olds as the Phantom Ace, but you know, he was well into middle age by that point. He was 45, I think, when he became when he shot down his 3-4 MiGs. So he was towards, because it was only 1970, I think, when he 72 that he actually retired from the US Air Force. But he had been from 1944 fighting all the way through. You know,
because I think the story about Robin Olds is an interesting one, isn't it? Because wasn't he was supposed to do a certain number of missions, and then he started lying about how many missions he'd done.
Well, actually, he started.
He kept it down, didn't he?
Yeah,
said,
I mean,
I've not done that many.
The rumor is that he lied about the amount of MiGs he killed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. He deliberately understated the number of MiGs he killed, because if he became a MiG ace, they'd have taken him home and all the rest of it. So he sort of was crediting other people in the squadron with MiG kills that he was getting, just so he. So I mean, that's I don't know I don't know the truth of that, but I mean, Robin Olds is you know, along with Winkle Brown and Beaumont, my pilot hero. You know, absolute hero. What a man. So. Yeah, Robin Olds is a singular human being. So
Somebody's put there which B-17 and B-24 kits are you planning to build. They're both the monogram kits, the 48 scale kits. That's the sort of plan. And in fact, I've got three. That's four. Three B-17 kits, because I've got the Revell Memphis Bell kit, I've got the monogram B-17 kit, and I've also got the Hong Kong models kit as well. And I think that they're going to be done as sort of slightly different versions. So the monogram kit will be done as a Schweinfurt kit. The Revell kit, which I think is an B-17F, will be done as, I think, is going to be done as a Coastal Command aircraft. I think that's what I'm going to do with that. And then the Hong Kong models one, I'm not sure about something like that. But yeah, it is sort of funny, and you know, and you sort of, when you're listening to it sort of takes model making that we do, where you're just building a kit up into a slightly different level, where you're looking at the crews and all of those kind of things. And it becomes a really different thing, you know. And I mean, I think one of them, I think that first Palesti raid, there was the story of one of the crews. That was their first raid, and they got killed. The whole lot were wiped out in one go in that first raid, and that was their first mission. They were said, you know, you're going to go against you're going to go against these refineries, and you're going to be, and that was their first raid, and they got killed in it. You know, it's horrible. Really, really horrible, you know. But I think I want to build something. I want to build these molds to try and be like a kind of testament, really, to what those guys did, you know, and rather than just
phenomenal people.
They absolutely, you know, kids. They were kids fighting kids. At some point, I kind of like the idea of doing the you know, the story of what's his name? The oh God, my memory's completely gone now. Charlie Brown's aircraft when he got,
yeah.
That's I kind of like the idea that Ye Olde Pub, I think was the
Old
name
Pub,
of Ye Old Pub, yeah. I kind of like the idea of doing that and doing the Messerschmitt 109 as well. To go with it, do the 109 and do the B-17 and do that as like a, you know, two models side by side, really, because that story is incredible, isn't it? You know, and how they became really good friends.
Franz Stigler, wasn't it?
Sorry,
say that again.
Franz Stigler, wasn't it?
Franz Stigler, yeah. Stigler's,
it's just one of those incredible stories. And even they even got some of the other family members together a few years ago, because Sabaton did a song. The metal group Sabaton did a song about that.
Oh, really?
And one of the grandchildren, I think, of one of the crew members got in touch with Sabaton about it, or the daughter or something, and Sabaton ended up bringing them along to a gig to meet everybody. And
really, wow.
Yeah, and there's a video on it. There's a video on it on YouTube where it covers the Sabaton song, because they did a complete sort of animated video for the song and stuff, covering No Bullets Fly, I think it's called.
Okay.
But it's just this, you know, generations and generations of these two families have managed to meet up and get together over this story. And the last time was about 2017 or so, when Sabaton released this song, and then everybody sort of kicked the whole story off again.
I think if you've never read the book A Higher Call, it's well worth a read. You know, because the book is kind of split into thirds, really. It's 1/3 is about Charlie Brown, 1/3 is about Franz Stigler, and about how they kind of, like, you know, they went off and did their thing. Because Stigler, he flew Messerschmitt 109s in the desert, and he talks about how appalling the conditions were, you know, with all the flies and the heat and all of that kind of thing. But also they talk about, you know, obviously when they got together and Charlie Brown's aircraft got shot to pieces by, I think it was FW-190s, and you know, he's sort of flying alongside him, and he sees this B-17 and thinks, oh, this is an easy kill, and then sees that there's holes in the side, a couple of engines are gone, he can see like dead crewmen in the fuselage and everything, and he's trying to get Charlie Brown to put the aircraft on the floor. He's saying, land this plane, you know, you're all over the place. And when he gets back, Charlie Brown gets back and back to his base in England, he's told not to talk about this. He says that his commanding officer says, you are under no circumstances allowed to talk about this, because what will happen is that crews will think that if they get shot to bits, they're going to be let off the hook by the German pilots. You can't talk about this. And he didn't for years and years and years, until...
I mean, you have to say that those officers are absolutely correct.
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
I mean, Stigler was a person apart.
Yeah. He was an ace at that point. He could have easily added to his tally, you know, and it's a phenomenal story. That it really is great story. But it also part and parcel of that story, you know, the risk of sort of going off at the tangent, was how the Luftwaffe was seen by the German people at the end of the war, and how hated they were. They were absolutely loathed because the German population at that point, they blamed the Luftwaffe for a lot of the problems that they suffered, you know, and said, you know, you should have protected us. Why didn't you protect us? And so it's about a lot of different things that all swelled around that point in history. It's fabulous. It really is good.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid. Any other business?
No, have fun next week.
He said through clenched teeth. Have fun. Hope you enjoy yourselves.
So when are you getting there, Jonathan? Next week?
I'm travelling up with Mr. Farmer on the Friday, so we should be kind of like midday-ish, hopefully,
okay.
because we've got excuse me, we've got setting up to do. Now the other thing I was going to say, Spence, is you are going to be bringing your own toolkit, aren't you?
No, I expect that the hobby company, given that they're a huge company, they can supply me with everything. So I think we probably need to talk before then about what I need to do. Yeah, there's no problem with that. I can take.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be bringing up my my big metal suitcase which has got everything in there. The one thing, and I'll just make this clear to everybody. The one thing we won't be doing this year is we won't be doing any painting. There's no airbrushing. So
no, are we only doing construction then next week?
Yeah. It's too much of a kind of like a, not a health and safety thing, but it's a logistic thing. To got to bring a spray booth up, and you've got to do this, that, and the other, and and it's just we will at some stage do a painting thing, but this is just going to be construction at the weekend.
Painting.
Do I need to just take that then?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, that's all you need. So
Okay.
yeah. On the other hand, have the aluminium flight case here, which has got everything I need in it. But anyway,
how posh!
I know. It's absolutely. Rob Monfils says Cosford at any point. I don't know, Rob. It's were it to be Drewe and myself travelling up, yes, we would. But I can certainly
do that, Rob. On the Friday. If Rob's going up there, it depends what time, because I can go up there, bearing in mind I live like 10 minutes from Cosford.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, and Steve Moores has reminded me, IMC badges. Yes, I will be putting the IMC badges into the flight case. So on that note, a big thank you to Drewe and Spencer for joining us tonight. It was very, very kind of you. I'm looking forward to seeing at least half of you at the weekend. Now, Drewe, don't worry, mate.
I'm going to pick him up. I'm driving down to Yeovil to pick him up.
That would be fun.
And I'm just going to like bind her
take me up and pack me in the boot.
That's what I'm going to do. Going to bundling him into the boot of my car.
On that note, it just remains for me to say thank you to Drewe and Spencer. Some of you, we will hopefully see you at Telford next weekend. So until then, everybody stay safe, stay out of trouble, and see you later. Bye for now.
Take it easy, all. Bye-bye.